If you are a business owner who feels anxious by the thought of being on camera, I'm gonna share some really simple ways to get more comfortable without draining your energy or losing your authenticity. This was one of the biggest challenges for me when I decided that I wanted to teach, I wanted to coach, because video is the #1 way to get in front of more people. But also, it really gives people a true sense of what it might be like to work with us. #1, first and foremost, we are gonna script it out, but we're gonna keep it loose. One of the biggest reasons you might struggle with being on camera is that you overthink what to say. So you might freeze up, you might trip over your words, and a lot of people's go-to solution for that is gonna be to script it out. But here's the problem with that. We then become really dependent on this script, and it becomes really easy to lose where we are. And the anxiety of that is often worse than the anxiety of free flowing. Another thing, it can come across really unnaturally because you might not read something with the same inflections and tone that you would use if you were speaking off the cuff. So people can kind of see that and feel that, and you're gonna feel it too as you're reading the script, and that's probably gonna stress you out too. So what we wanna do is create a loose outline, give ourselves some bullet points of those key ideas that we wanna cover instead of a word-for-word script. And I would recommend this for any public speaking situation that you find yourself in, because this gives you structure without making you sound robotic. You can go over your outline a few times before you hit record. You can even have those bullet points on a sticky note near your camera lens. If you're using a ring light, you can stick it on there. But this will help you stay on track, but also keep your delivery feeling spontaneous and genuine. A little cheat that I like to use, I'm using it right now, is an app called Teleprompter that will scroll those notes for you as you're recording on your phone. I do have a link down that below for that in the description box. This has been a lifesaver for me. And if you do want to use a word-for-word script, you can certainly do that. Just remember that it might make things a little more difficult for you and you might have a little more stress. So just keep those in mind. I do have some workarounds for that though that I'm gonna share in just a moment. Okay, next up, we are gonna use AI tools for a little bit of extra support. One thing that can make recording videos less stressful is being well prepared. So your AI tools like ChatGPT, they can provide some structure or talking points for your video, which might give you the assist that you need to feel a little more comfortable. So I spoke about this in the previous video in this series that you might want to check out. The key to ChatGPT is to use it as a support tool, not a crutch. People do not want regurgitated information that they can find themselves on ChatGPT. So use it to brainstorm ideas, provide some structure, but be sure that you're also including your own experiences, your stories, and your personality. If you are unsure about where to start or need help organizing your thoughts, let ChatGPT generate a rough script for you or some bullet points. You can ask it for content ideas or even let it organize your thoughts into a cleaner format. One thing that I do a lot is I'll voice memo notes, things that I want to talk about on video, and then I will transcribe that, put it in ChatGPT and ask it to make sense of that for me. So it'll shift it around and give it a little more structure, which is helpful for me in getting out more content. Now, when it comes to editing, there are some phenomenal programs out there. If you've ever spent time on iMovie or anything like that, you will so appreciate what is available now in these AI tools. I personally like Descript. It saves me a ton of time on editing. Depending on the plan you choose, I think it's 10 or 20 bucks a month. It makes things really easy for me to shift pieces of the video around, to cut out sections I don't like. Lots of just cool features. Also just the look and feel of the video, your eye contact, things like that. It's a nice little assist if you're feeling a little uncomfortable about how you're coming across or showing up in video. But having said that, guys, you don't need to over edit your videos. It's more important to show up authentically than to aim for perfection. Third, we are going to pretend that we are speaking to one person. I'm gonna imagine that if you're watching this video, especially if you were drawn in by the mention of introverts or empaths, that one of your gifts is connecting deeply with people in smaller settings or even one-on-one. What I want you to think about when you're doing your videos is that you're talking to one person, not the masses. We are having a one-on-one conversation with a single person in our audience. If you have a client who is kind of your ideal client that you'd like to draw in more of, just literally picture them and speak directly to them as if it's a personal chat. This will get you in the mindset, the tone, and the voice that is best suited for what you're trying to accomplish in your video. Okay, this is a big one. Number 4, work with your natural energy cycle. Guys, you know you're not always on, you're not always high energy. If you identify as an empath, an introvert, I feel very confident in making that assumption. It would be weird if you put on a false bravado for a video conversation. There are many people who will actually appreciate maybe your calmer energy, and that's why they will specifically gravitate towards you. So the key here is to really embrace your natural pace, your natural personality, because the very last thing we want to do is give people a bait and switch. If we draw them in with this false energy, we've created kind of a weird thing if they actually show up to work with us. You want to attract the people who will most appreciate how you actually show up in life and in your business. So speak at a pace that feels comfortable to you. You don't have to rush through your points. If you need to pause and collect your thoughts, that's perfectly fine. You know, I used to edit out a lot of my ums and likes and things like that, but that's how I speak. So it's weird that I'm polishing that out of a video that's supposed to be a very natural experience with me. But having said that, be sure you're recording when you feel most energized. If that's in the morning, that's when you record. If you're a night owl, do it then. Align your filming with your energy flow so that you can show up fully and a little more naturally. Number 5, we gotta watch our body language. How you are feeling inside will often show up in your body language. So if you're feeling tense, you're feeling anxious, it will be visible on camera. So try to focus on relaxing your body as much as you can. And again, this comes down to what time of day you record. If you know you're just better in the morning or in the evening, do it then so that you can remove a little bit of that anxiety from the equation. You've probably noticed I talk with my hands a lot. I'm not going to be able to control that. And using my hands when I talk actually does help keep me a little more calm, but I don't want to distract my audience. So I do try to keep my hands out of frame. But, you know, sometimes I don't, I can't help it. And I'm okay with that. But if there's anything about your presentation in terms of what your body's doing that stresses you out, figure out how to deal with that. Like I am pretty conscious of sitting in a way that can keep my hands out of frame most of the time. Just be sure to stand or sit in a position that feels natural for you, but confident. Also try to avoid things like crossing your arms, slouching, things that make you appear closed off, because again, our energy will translate across the screen. We want people to feel that we are comfortable, that we are confident. So whatever you need to do to feel that way, do that. Okay, next up, start with small, low pressure practice. What I always recommend for my clients is starting with a little practice run that doesn't take them too far out of their comfort zone. So you don't need to jump straight into recording 10-minute YouTube videos. You don't need to do live streams in front of your entire audience. Just start with something simple like recording yourself on your phone with no intention of posting it. Get used to seeing yourself on camera and hearing your voice, which will be weird at first, but we need to get those reps in and we need to get out of our heads about what that looks like, how we sound, what we look like. The more you can get used to how you look on screen, how you sound, the easier it will be to not get so wrapped up in that moving forward. I recommend setting a timer for 5 minutes every day. Just record yourself talking about anything that you envision yourself talking to your audience about. Maybe think of a question that your ideal client would ask and just answer that question on video. If you are feeling a little brave and you want to post it, you can always try Instagram or Facebook stories, even YouTube stories. These are made for those short, informal videos that don't live in your feed forever. So you might feel a little more comfortable hitting publish and then just see what kind of feedback you get. And that leads me to my next tip, letting go of perfectionism. One of the biggest reasons introverts and empaths struggle with being on camera, do you know what it is? Let me give you a second. It is the fear of making mistakes or not being perfect. And if you have any people-pleasing traits in you or imposter syndrome, you're probably gonna be wondering what so-and-so is thinking about the video you just posted. And I promise you, this will be your biggest block to getting what you want in both your business and your life. We are creating for our ideal audience, our people, and again, people connect with authenticity, not perfection. I don't know what kind of audience you're trying to attract, but perfection is actually a pretty big turnoff for a lot of people. It's too far past aspirational sometimes, you know? If you're teaching on camera, if you're too perfect, you might lose a lot of people who just can't relate to you. It's okay if you stumble over your words or you don't get everything perfectly right. It's okay if a dog barks in the background. Just literally make fun of it and move on. Because those small imperfections, guys, those are what will make you relatable. Having said that, invest in great lighting. Trust me. It will impact your confidence on camera more than almost anything else. Poor lighting can make you look tired, uncomfortable, and it can affect how you feel about the video once you're done recording. So a few tips for that. Number one, get yourself a ring light. It will reduce shadows, will highlight your face. I've literally been to tears, guys, seeing myself on video without ring lighting. It's not a great feeling. So get a ring light. You can adjust the temperature of that to go with the mood that you're looking for in your video and to also contrast with the other lighting that's going on for you. Number two, you will want to turn off any really harsh overhead lighting because that will have a big impact too in how you come across on camera. I've got these, you can't see them, but I have windows even higher than this window right here. So I get tons of natural sunlight in this room. And if I'm shooting in the middle of the day, even with a ring light, I look terrible. And I can't get myself to post that. So I love this space though, so I'll wait until the sun goes down. And that's when I do my recording with my ring light. So play around with the lighting. If you don't like how you look on camera, just know that's probably why. And before filming, just set up your lighting, take a few test shots to see how it looks. It might take a while to get it right, but once you know the best time of day and lighting conditions in your space, it will be plug and play for future videos. It is helpful too if you just have a regular space, so this is mine, so you always kind of know what lighting you need and what the best time of day is. That'll make your life a lot easier. Okay, last one. This one might be the hardest, but it is the most important. We are going to post and we're gonna move on. We're not gonna overanalyze our video once it's done. We're not gonna spend hours rewatching it and critiquing it. Once you've edited your video, give yourself a set amount of time to review it, 10, 15 minutes. After that, hit post and don't look back. Now, we are gonna check the analytics because we wanna get a sense of whether it resonated with people, but we're not gonna stress about how we showed up. We're gonna keep going and we're just gonna get better every time. Like the more you do this, the easier it will become to release content without feeling overwhelmed by self-doubt. But just to recap, and I've got all of this in the description box below. Check out ChatGPT for a little help with your content scripting. Check out Descript. I think I'm saying that right. It is a wonderful and very easy to use video program. I have experience with iMovie and all kinds of programs like that are more intense and they're meant for marketing people. And I will tell you, my clients who have no marketing background use this with no issue. It's a really great program. So now that you're feeling a little sassy, you're ready to get on camera, we need to focus on what to say to help us get the results we're looking to get from our videos. In the next video in this series, I'm diving into how to create content that speaks directly to your ideal audience without feeling salesy. If you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss that. And then for those of you that want to dive even deeper, my program Fearless Promotion covers everything we've talked about in this video and more. It also includes some one-on-one time with me, so I can personally guide you through the process of finding your voice, showing up authentically on camera, and creating marketing that resonates with your audience. You can also check that out in the description box below. All right, guys, I'll see you soon.